Yasmina. I'm originally from Morocco, and, and I am the founder of Politics for Her, which is an organization that advocates for the inclusive participation of young women and girls in politics, leadership, and decision making. So, of course, we cover different key areas that are concerning barriers to young women and girls' political participation, and that includes sexual reproductive rights, and particularly menstrual health and menstrual care. So this is something that we have been doing through campaigns and through partnerships as well. For example, when Morocco was hit by an earthquake back in September, we really realized that there was a lack of gender-sensitive response to the disaster, and including in donations, people would tend to forget about women's needs. So it was very often food and medicine, but never we would think about periods, especially that coming from a country where it's still considered as taboo, sometimes impure, that it's misinterpreted within the culture, within the religion. So we did a campaign to advocate for people to remember that disasters don't make periods stop. So periods don't stop during disasters, and so a lot of people started donating, and we were also able to fundraise a few $1,000s, as well as 2,500 packs of reusable pads. But of course, we knew that that would just be a short-term and immediate solution, and we didn't want to just like throw pads out there. So we got funding for a more long-term project, which is currently in its last phase, and it's called Pads for Her. So what we're doing is that we have two team members that are based in Morocco, Olivia and Silma, that got training on menstrual justice. And we also did a toolkit in Moroccan, Arabic, Darija, French, and not English, and Tamazight, which is the indigenous language. And we distributed that in partnership with Project SOAR, an organization that does really great work in empowering teen girls and also focusing on menstrual justice. And we distributed our toolkit to 1,000 toolkits. So it impacted thousands of young girls in schools, in over 100 schools. And so we wanted to really keep that going. So we are now finalizing reusable pads that the girls have done from scratch in partnership with local cooperatives run by women. So it's ethically produced and sustainable, also with good materials. So they've done extensive research to be able to create our own pads. So now we're in the final phase, and they will be distributed to hundreds of girls that were affected by the earthquake, and it will come with a workshop. So that's really the ones that they understand more about menstruation, they understand more about their bodies, their rights, how it's not something to be ashamed of, it's not impure, even if sometimes, and how the way it's interpreted in religion looks like it, and there's a shame and taboo around it. So that's what we've done in terms of earthquake response. And then we did also a few other campaigns we did was for Gaza, Palestine. So we noticed that there were horrifying testimonies of women and girls saying that they were using tents as period pads, and just like very unsanitary tissues, and also that they were taking pills to delay their periods because of the ongoing genocide in Gaza. So we decided to partner with, to fundraise for ANIRA, which is an organization that has been operating in Palestine as well as in the region for the past 50 plus years. And so we did a crowdfunding online for hygiene kits that included period products and sanitary products, just to restore back some dignity. And for that, we were able to fundraise more than $65,000. So that was also a great campaign that we also did on social media, of course. That's periods don't stop during a genocide, just like periods don't stop, sorry, during a disaster.
Yeah.
And the other campaign that we did this year, it was with UNHCR, so the United Nations Refugee Agency in Morocco. And based on the toolkits that we've done for the earthquake, I spoke to the UNHCR team and they really loved the idea to implement that for women refugees in Morocco. So we did, during the month of March, which is Women's History Month, we did a series of workshops within different cities in Morocco in partnership with UNHCR and other grassroots organizations focusing on sexual reproductive health rights and migrant refugee rights. So we did the series of workshops where Politics for Her team members presented our toolkit, spoke about it, and we gave them a period like a box with reusable panties that we partnered with another Moroccan brand that we've done work with before. And yeah, it was very successful. Actually, men were also involved within separate workshops to really teach them that there's nothing taboo about periods, but also the basics of like where their periods come from, the cycle, and how like really contextual to like refugee crisis as well and displacement, because again, periods don't stop during displacement. So that was a very like groundbreaking initiative for UNHCR, because usually other UN agencies such as UNFPA focus more on that. I said that everything is interconnected in the sense that just like we mentioned how periods don't stop during disasters, they don't stop during the climate crisis, they don't stop during the genocides, wars, conflicts, forced displacement. So this is interconnected with other issues such as war, militarism and violence. It's also interconnected with gender-based violence. It's interconnected with women's rights and girls' rights and health rights and anything. You can apply this like the menstrual justice lens through any of the SDGs, for example. It's interconnected and interdisciplinary. So that's like one of the main lessons. And also that, you know, like when we do the work that we do as feminists, especially from global majority countries, like young women of colors, gender diverse people, and indigenous people and refugees, really like it's intersectional and that we're not free until we're all free. So it's really having this inclusive approach to that and making sure that we practice what we preach. So all the values that we're going to stand for, we're also going to implement that within our projects, within our campaigns, within the way that we treat each other. And we're hoping really to also be able to sustain ourselves more because, you know, working in this field is extremely like scarce when it comes to funding. So we're starting to work on a merchandise. So I think it's important for young people to also realize that we need to have like profitable kind of aspect to our work. Otherwise, we're just going to drain ourselves and we're just not going to have the finances or the funds to be able to support our work. So instead of always relying on funders, and you know, it's very small funding, seed funding, it's to really like think of ways where you can both support the communities that you serve and support yourself and your team as a whole. And we'll probably also start selling our pads, reusable pads. Selma and Olivia, they also tried them to make sure that they work. So when they got their periods, they're like, oh, I'm gonna try it to see if it works, to make sure that we're not giving it without making sure it's you know, impeccable. And yeah, they were very satisfied, and obviously they've done incredible work, and I admire them so much for that because they started everything from scratch, and now we're about to like distribute these reusable pads. So also, you know, challenge yourself. It's not something we've done before, but you know, like it's been a really fun journey to and a learning journey to learn more about how we can build anything from bottom to top. And that's young women have already their own agency in particular. Like those are the demographics I work with mostly, and it's very inspiring. Like growing up in Morocco, every time that we would go to like a little grocery store and we would buy pads, they will put them around newspaper and then like in a bag so that it's hidden so that no one can see. It's growing up around this culture of shame. Like I would go to high school and I would say to guys, friends, I would be like, oh, I have my periods. They're like, shh, don't say that. Like keep it to yourself. Or all those stereotypes that are shaming are are shaming us, right? And then eventually, like when I started learning and deconstructing, especially deconstructing, that there's nothing to be ashamed of, it's not taboo, and also learning from the works of Moroccan academics, feminist academics, and where they, like, for example, Dr. Sumaya and Mengisus analyzed how there's nothing impure in periods in the Quran. So, like learning from those that have been doing incredible work to dismantle those typical stereotypes according to which when a woman has her periods in Islam, she cannot touch the Quran or she cannot go inside of a mosque. So I would say the environment in which I grew up, which I saw that it was always like something to be ashamed of, I've always wanted to deconstruct this stereotype, and that's it's absolutely normal. Learning also more about my cycle, learning about my own sexual reproductive health is also a form of empowering myself. So that's something that I've been trying to practice too, and I know that a lot of young women struggle too because I've struggled with my sexual reproductive health, and now I'm really trying to just like balance my hormones. But I would say that's just like a lot of people, it's personal and it's based on lived experiences and on also realizing that it's something that is universal, even though in some cultures or some contexts it could be more intensified. It's still something really universal.